Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another review, and today I'm taking a look at this right here. This is the high-grade Gundam Michaelis, and of course this is from the Witch from Mercury. As always, this video right here would not have been possible without those awesome people over at HobbyLink Japan, so if you want some Gunpla all of your own, I will throw that link down there as usual in the description. So when it comes to the Michaelis in-universe, what it says inside the manual is: Grassley Defense Systems has continued to pursue their anti-Gundam agenda even after the Venatus incident. They continue to work on updating units equipped with Antidote, a gun format interference device. One approach they tried was to add attack capabilities to the Antidote device, giving units an offensive edge until they can execute interference to the gun format. The result of this approach was Michaelis. Replacing the right arm manipulator with permanently fixed equipment reduced its versatility, but the additional mobility and attack power made up for it. So what we get here inside of this box is pretty much like an update to the Begir-Beu. A lot of what is on the runners is very similar to what we would have seen before, but I will say that on the runners it doesn't actually say Begir-Beu on anything. When it comes to the actual runners we have inside of the box, we've got 5 runners for the actual mobile suit itself, a runner for an included stand, the beams, and a set of stickers. The breakdown of the runners is we've got a white A runner, 2 grey B runners which is B1 and B2, a purple runner which is C, and some clear parts which is D. Like I mentioned, what does actually come to the build of this kit, this is essentially like an upgraded Begir-Beu, and the build even feels that much more fun, even though that kit was ridiculously impressive. For me, the real standout parts of this particular build is the head, which has a very 30-minute missions feel to it. We've basically got one big old section that makes up the head, a visor, a sticker, and a couple of armor parts, but still, what Bandai do nowadays with these particular Witch from Mercury kits is ridiculously impressive. There's so little parts actually going into each piece with so much payoff. However, the star of the show inside of this box is the Beam Bracer. That of course is Michaelis' main weapon. This is basically a big old arm from, well, the wrist down, which is made out of a bunch of plates, all with multiple points of articulation, which means the finished weapon can do so much. There is only one real down point to this. That of course would be the color separation. From a technical perspective, the inside of this should be a different color than the outside, which it isn't. So you're going to have to do a little bit of masking and painting if you want this to be perfect. And when you're just building this out of box, we've got a ton of stickers in here that actually have to be put into the inner surface of each of these armor plates, which can be a little bit difficult because of the angle and the fact that you're putting them into a kind of concave surface, which is a little bit difficult. Also, like we would have seen with the rest of this line, this kit almost has a full inner frame. So the legs and the body have a full inner frame, the arms don't. You actually have to build the outer armor as functional aspects of those particular limbs, but this is still impressive for a high grade. Once again, plastic on plastic joints that blow my mind. And once this kit is finished, it looks absolutely gorgeous, so let's jump right on in to the aesthetics. So now jumping into the aesthetics, and there is the high-grade Michaelis in all of its glory. This really does have a very, well, how can I say it? It's got a knight kind of feel to it, while at the same time has a little bit of a 30-minute missions flair. Now, I'm a little bit sad that all my 30-minute missions are still in storage at the moment, because this looks like, you know, the original Alto color. I'll throw it in just so you can actually see it, the white variant, mixed a little bit with the knight Spinatio we would have seen recently. That's the kind of vibe I'm getting off of this. But when it comes to the overall model kit, this is extremely impressive. On the whole, this is an absolutely incredible looking design, and this reeks of Ebikawa. It has everything that he usually does. We've got those nice, shiny, purple sections in the upper legs, and the shoulders, and the chest. We've got a nice sticker for inside of the visor, which reflects out the light perfectly. The armor has some nice shapes to it. It's a mix of squared off edges with some nice curves here and there. The overall design is absolutely phenomenal, and once again, really does give me the feel of a 30-minute missions. If you get this into some really nice lighting, you can really see the kind of curves and everything we have going on here. All the different facets to the armor catch the light differently. It's one dynamic looking suit. Of course, this harks back to the Begir-Beu we would have seen in the prologue. Once again, I don't have the kit handy, this is what it looks like, and this is really that brought to the new level. This is an incredibly gorgeous looking kit. Now, I will mention, I did nothing extra out of box besides the usual 2 snips, and I did panel line it using a mix of black and grey panel liners and the pour style type, which I usually use, and this looks absolutely gorgeous. When it does come to the panel lines on here, there's a nice amount of them. Not an incredible amount. If you actually take, well, what it looked like before it was panel lined and what it looks like afterwards, this does bring out the little bit of recessed details in the lines that are scattered here and there very, very tastefully. So taking a little bit of a closer look at the Michaelis right here, and this is one hell of a gorgeous kit. It has a nice color scheme, so we've got that very bright white on a very darkish inner frame with a little bit of a splash of color, which is the purple, but keeping it in that kind of monotone white through purple kind of feel these sort of kits have. We've got some nice shiny parts all over the place with stickers underneath in the upper legs. We've got a cockpit in the chest there, which has a little bit of a seat in there, which is a nice little addition. No pilot figure, but there is a seat. There is the face right there with that very incredible visor, which just catches the light so well. And these, just like we would have seen on the Beu, actually have the full teardrop shape inside of it. They're just kind of armored off, which does look so good. Unlike that particular kit, this has actual feet, and these do have a 30-minute missions vibe, just like this whole thing. The night aesthetic, the color scheme, the overall kind of alto look, it's just kind of like one of those, kind of made a little bit more premium. We've got a very small, stripped-down backpack here. Actually, do we have the usual backpack? Oh, wow, we do! I'm actually shocked that we do have that, so that means you can actually change out backpacks with this. And hey, gonna grab the Ferract right here just to get the nicest backpack of them all, at least when it comes to the Witch from Mercury so far. Just adjust that so we can pop that in. Oh, I lost the weapon. So yeah, if you were curious as to what this looks like without that arm attached, well, it just jumped off. So that is what it looks like if you wanted a more typical looking mecha out of this. So yeah, the Ferract's backpack does clash with it a little bit, but I feel this adds so much to every mecha. That is such a nice backpack. If that was actually painted into the same colors as this unit right here, that would look absolutely incredible. And anyway, speaking of the Ferract, it's about time for a size comparison. There it is side by side with the high-grade Gundam Ferract, and there it is side by side with the high-grade Gundam Aerial, both from the same show. As for other kits I have knocking around, there's the high-grade Shenlong from Gundam Wing, and the entry-grade New Gundam. So now jumping into the accessories, and here's absolutely everything that comes with the high-grade Michaelis. So first off, we get that beam bracer, which we would have seen already, but we're going to go into a little bit more detail. We've got a couple of beams in here. These are the shorter, chubbier type. These are in green. We've got a wire for using with the beam bracer, and finally we do have an included tiny stand. Not for using with the kit, but once again, the beam bracer. So when it comes to the hands in here, or should I say hand, we've only got the one, which is a standard style holding hand. So this right here is your bog standard average holding hand. That is the type that has that kind of hole in the top for holding onto weapons, even though this is a kit that will never actually be holding onto weapons, unless, well, you grab them from another kit. However, it is the other hand that is the main event in here, and this is where the magic happens. At first, it might just look like a little bit of a peg, which it is, and I assume because that is 3mm, you can use this to your heart's content to attach on whatever it is you want. But what this is actually for is this absolutely phenomenal beam bracer, which is one of the coolest Witch from Mercury weapons around so far, because it does a whole lot of things. First off, what it says in the manual about this particular weapon is a multi-role equipment mainly consisting of an antidote device. Its frame has a built-in beam oscillator and 4 layers of plate with shield coating. It can transform into 3 modes: beam saber, beam cannon, and beam machine gun. The unit can be detached and controlled remotely via the attached wire and provide attack support from a distance. So the coolest aspect for me about this is it's got a full transformation, and a nice one at that. It's very simplistic but works very well. So all of these arms can fold out just like so and open up into this shape. Once again, the stickers are a little bit of a pain in the arse to attach, but you'll get them in there. I do recommend actually folding the sticker sheet like this beforehand, kind of getting it into the shape that the, well, area they'll be attaching into is. That makes them actually the shape of it while you're placing them in, and saved me a whole lot of issue, because the first couple I tried to put in just flat, difficult. Once again, the inner segments of this should be a little bit darker, but you could paint those yourself. It doesn't look too bad. And we do have these fold out little claw parts up in the top as well. So this does have a whole lot going on. The back segment can move as well. I think this is mainly just to make sure it doesn't get in the way of the unit when you're trying to pose it, but this is a massive and cool unit right here. So from here on out for posing, I'm going to be using a stand with the Michaelis, and I will mention, as usual, what I use is this right here. This is the Simple Stand by Good Smile Company. They come in 3 packs. They're about 1,100 yen or $10 to $12 or so. These are the greatest stands around for high grades, hands down. So when it comes to attaching this onto the unit itself, it's super simple. It's just a peg into the hole and it holds on nice and securely. Folding this into position into the, what I can only describe as the initial or relaxed or the beam saber / beam cannon position is super simple. Everything just folds back on 2 different C-clips axis and it all just tucks away so well. And when you want to use this as a beam saber, it's very simply just pop the beam saber into the hole in the end like so, holds on perfectly, looks great. And I will mention that this is also one of those beam sabers that does glow under blue or black light, which is a very cool effect. Finally, there is what it will look like in a pose with the beam saber attached, and this isn't the only beam saber inside the box. So as for the other beam, that's exactly the same. It just pops into this little shield on the left arm, and according to the instructions about the beam sabers, they are melee weapons. This one in particular is built into the left arm short shield. In combination with the right arm beam saber, it offers the option of dual sword combat, which is exactly what you can see in this pose right here. We'll also mention once again, this glows under blue or black light. It just attaches in just like this, pop it on in, simple as. So besides the beam effect in this, there's a lot you can do with the beam bracer. This is so impressive. First off, there's the standard configuration, which is this one right here. You're able to pop out these little claw-like segments in the front for this configuration. You can bring these all forward in a sort of closed, forward-pointing configuration like so, or the big old widespread, almost flower-looking Antidote version of this, completely spread open with those stickers inside. Looking pretty damn good. Once again, could be a little bit more color accurate, but still awesome. So last up in here, we've got this included stand. Now, we've seen this quite a few times before with different effect sets, as well as different Witch from Mercury sets. It's a nice little stand. Top moves like so, bottom moves like that, and same here in a bit of rotation towards the base. This doesn't, of course, have enough strength to hold up the actual kit itself, but it's for using with this back here for when it's being used as a remote weapon. So that just pops off like so. The included wire then just attaches on to that part just like so. The other end just connects onto the stand like that. And the peg that we have on the top right here, that attaches just into the rear of the weapon where it was attached to the arm. Easy as that right there. So anyway, there's what the beam bracer looks like when it's used as a remote weapon. So once again, you can attach the beam, you can pose this whichever way you want up on that stand. The center of balance is really good and everything holds on perfect. The wire is nice, it's not too stiff, it's not too weak, and it looks absolutely fantastic in a pose. This is a ridiculously cool weapon. So now jumping into the articulation on the high-grade Michaelis, and I have to say, this thing is so good, especially in the lower body. We've got some great knees, great ankles. The feet are a little bit on the small side, so it does mean that it can be a little bit hard to balance sometimes. But what you get out of this is absolutely incredible, and it feels rock solid. Once again, that is totally due to the fact that this is one of those Witch from Mercury plastic on plastic builds, so it's all rock solid. Even, is what I was going to say, have this little sliding mechanism right here, which I think we may have had in the Beggar Boo as well, or Beggar Boo, or whatever it's called. But this is very nice. The only thing that is a little bit on the limited side, and I only mean a little bit, is probably the waist right here and the elbows. So the waist is an interesting kind of design. So it's actually done like this, so it's a forward-facing ball joint, so you get the rotation there as well as the ball joint action, but the actual rest of the torso here is fixed in position, so there's no rotation down here near the waist or anything, so it is all one piece right here for the most part. So anyway, that just plugs on in under there, so you do still get all the rotation you'd ever need out of that, but the elbows are just basically kind of like right angles. But besides that, it's all so good, including that awesome moving little segment we get in all of these Witch from Mercury kits, this one right here, which allows the ball joint to have something to move around inside of that also moves, giving you even more. Let's test out some poses. So anyway, that right there is it for the review, and I need to change the ranking system, and I'm not going to do it just yet. I'll do a video to announce that. I'll think about it a little bit more. I really need to kind of change it so that it reflects what kits are like in 2023. Like the Witch from Mercury line is completely re-established what the baseline is for high-grade kits. The plastic-on-plastic joints, the great build strength, the layering of parts, etc., which is all here, by the way, by classic Mecha Gaikotsu fucking ranking system, classic style. Well, this would be platinum tier, and that's what it's going to be for right now. But I'm really going to make the baseline from this year on, somewhat a little bit later on, I'm going to make it what the Gundam Aerial does. That's going to be the new baseline, so it's going to be quite harsh on older kits, but hey, that's what happens. The times change, things get better, old things do get left behind. I'm currently building a kit based on the high-grade ground Gundam, and man, whoa, it just does not compare to what we're getting these days. Anyway, platinum tier, awesome kit, looks great. A little bit of color separation could be a little bit better inside of that awesome beam bracer, but on the whole it's fantastic, and the beam bracer is such an awesome weapon with loads of cool moving parts, and it's just an absolute joy to pose and looks awesome in every single pose, and that night aesthetic just makes it look even better. Anyway, if you do want one of your own, I got mine through Hobby Link Japan, link is down there in the description. As always, thank you so much for watching, make sure to come back for more Gunpla reviews, and I will see you next time. As always, I can't end this video without thanking each and every one of you guys who watches my videos, and of course special thanks to those of you who are supporting me on Patreon and the channel members here, including Tin Soldier YT, Caleb Engelhardt, Joe, Go Little Rockstar, Lauren Seahack, or G59061, and Van Fawn.